Hello everybody, John back here again with another video, and today I bring you another top 5. It's that time of the week again, and in honor of this top 5, I'm going to give you another Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice orientated top 5. Seeing as how the teaser trailer came out not too long ago, I gave my personal review over it. If you've not checked out already, please go to my channel, check it out. It's my longest, most in-depth review for any teaser trailer ever that I've done in the past, so definitely check it out if you're a Batman and or Superman fan. But today, last time I gave you my top 5 Batman anime movies, today it's time to give you my top 5 Superman anime movies list. Now, of course, as always with all my lists, they're subjective, they're my personal thoughts, and my personal opinion. So if there's a list of movies that you personally think should have been in this movie or should have been ranked differently, or if there was a particular movie that you personally think is the best or your personal favorite that was not on this list, please in the comment section below, let me know what is your personal list of the top 5 best Superman anime movies. Now, of course, also for this list, the specific criteria for this list, I will only be choosing Superman movies within the DC animated universe. I will not be choosing any of the Justice League movies or the Lego movies or the Superman appearances throughout the Batman or Superman animated universes. I was specifically only using the DC animated U, and of course, I will also be choosing through the Batman and Superman crossovers within the DC animated universe. Nonetheless, let's get right down into this list. Coming up at number 5 on my list has to go down to Superman Batman Apocalypse. Now, personally, a lot of people consider this to be one of the worst of the DC anime movies because of many reasons. And also, on top of it, it's not really a Superman-Batman movie. It's more or less a Supergirl movie, but Superman has a lot of significant roles in it, and I always enjoyed it. I personally think it was a very underrated movie, and I just love the moments that Superman has with Supergirl, where he's just desperately trying to save her from herself and trying to teach her the ways of Earth and what it's like to be an Earthling versus being a Kryptonian, and how her powers can be a symbol of good, kind of similar to how Superman's been treating Metropolis and the rest of the world as his persona Superman. And of course, there's tons of other characters that come into play. Of course, you have Wonder Woman trying to teach Supergirl how to fight, Batman who's trying to, knock some sense out of Superman and trying to realize the fact that Supergirl really needs to learn how to adjust to this world. And you have this whole other scenario with Apocalypse where Darkseid wants to use Supergirl to his advantage and just keep her for himself in a real creepy way. And then there's an entire all-out battle and war against, the Trinity versus Apocalypse, and there's an amazing battle, and not to mention my personal favorite sequence where Batman actually outsmarts Darkseid, which, if they ever do that in a movie, I would lose my shit. But nonetheless, it's a very Superman and Supergirl heavy movie, and I'm all for it. I love Superman, I love Supergirl, and them both being a team up movie, I personally think was awesome. I just think they should have just retitled the movie Superman Supergirl Apocalypse instead of calling it Superman Batman, because at the end of the day, Batman doesn't really have a significant role in this movie, and at the same time, Superman in of itself doesn't really have that much of a significant role. But I always loved the movie, I always enjoyed it, I liked the animation, I loved the story, I liked the cousin relationship that Superman and Supergirl have, where they're more than just cousins, they're almost like the same person, they love each other, in a way that only you have to see the movie to really enjoy and get the full effect of. But nonetheless, moving off of that, going to number 4 on my list has to go to Superman Batman Public Enemies. Now, of course, this is I want to say the first of those crossover movies, and it's personally one of the best. I personally enjoyed it. I liked the cartoony, comic booky, all-star kind of style they gave to it. I also enjoyed the storyline where, spoilers, of course, spoilers all around, for all these movies, but nonetheless, in the movie, Lex Luthor becomes president and deems Superman and Batman public enemies #1, and essentially the entire DC universe, the entire Justice League, rather, goes on a full manhunt to take down Superman and Batman, and Superman and Batman must team up, take down the entire freaking DCU, and of course, prove that Lex Luthor is actually the villain in all of this to the world, and of course, redeem their names as the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel. And of course you have an entire other subplot where there's a gigantic Kryptonian meteorite heading towards the planet that's going to destroy everything. And of course that's just another, thing that they have to deal with to try and fix this entire planet. But nonetheless, that's I just always enjoyed that movie. It's really fun. It's entertaining. It has lots of fighting. It has tons of rogues and various characters from the DCU. You have amazing characters like Power Girl and Captain Atom and Black Lightning and Starfire like teaming up and shit, which is something that you don't really get to see. Superman and Batman work very well together. It's just amazing to see those two characters just come together and just try to redeem themselves in a way that you have to read a comic book only to really get the full effect of. But if there's another kind of medium where it really shows how these two characters can really adjust and work together, it's that movie. But nonetheless, moving off of that, going to number 3 on my list, has to go to AllStar Superman. Now, AllStar Superman is a little bit more complicated in comparison to the last two movies. It has various different types of plots, which I don't really want to go full detail in without spoiling it all. But essentially, throughout this movie, we get to realize that Superman is not going to be here forever. He's obviously going to die from significant causes, natural causes, if you will, and he's just trying to make every single moment count with Lois, and it's mostly just a love story between Superman and Lois, and of course you have various other subplots with Lex Luthor trying to take him down, and then you have like an entire invasion of other Kryptonians and just various other just crazy awesomeness that happens with this movie. It's an awesome flick. The animation is awesome. The music's awesome. I love the redesign and characters for all these movies, specific this one in particular. And AllStar Superman, it's just an all-around entertaining and fun movie, which is all you really want from a Superman movie. And of course, if you're a big fan of love stories, then you're also going to love this because it's very Superman and Lois Lane heavy. And of course, this is the first movie out of all these Superman movies to actually feature Lois Lane with superpowers, which is also pretty cool and interesting. But nonetheless, moving off of that, going to number 2 on my list, which was really difficult, because as much as I love the story, I can't really say it's my number 1 pick that I would choose, but I just love the story so much to the point where if this was like, if they used this plot as influence for the first Justice League movie with Zack Snyder directing, I would be okay with it. And of course, it has to go down to Superman Unbound, which is of course based off the Superman Brainiac storyline created by Jeff Johns, which is of course a reintroduction and reimagining of Superman versus Brainiac, the Silver Age version. And it's just an amazing, downright awesome storyline between Superman and Brainiac. We have amazing storylines between the lore and mythology between the Kryptonians, Supergirl's experiences with Brainiac himself, and it's just an all-out war against Superman and Brainiac and all his drones while he takes an entire invasion over Metropolis and tries to take it and seal it in between a little glass case in comparison to how he did back in Krypton, where he took Kandor from Supergirl, which is an amazing fucking piece of information, an amazing storyline in of itself. I don't want to go into more detail without spoiling the entire movie. It's just an awesome, all-around, fun, entertaining flick. And if you're a big Brainiac fan, you're gonna love this movie. It's just awesome. He's just a gigantic mechanical boss. Superman's awesome as well. Everything about this movie is pretty kick-ass. Nonetheless, moving off of that, there's not really that many honorable mentions that I can choose from, because at the end of the day, there's not really that many Superman movies left, with the exception of, I guess I have to go out and say Brainiac Attacks, which is another Brainiac storyline, and Superman Shazam, which is a crossover between Superman and Captain Marvel, which of course was retitled The Return of Black Adam, which is a very interesting movie. I haven't really gotten the full effect of liking that movie yet. I still am trying to get into it, but nonetheless, that's also a pretty interesting, badass movie. Superman versus the Elite. I was never really a big fan of that movie, but the only real reason why I like it so much is because of one specific reason. Superman has the power to take other people's superpowers. I don't know where a person gets to the point where, like, Superman becomes so powerful he can just take away other people's superpowers. Like, what a douche. But, That's probably the only reason, because that's so cool where he can just like pick a specific spot in the person's brain, eliminate it, which causes them to not be able to use superpowers again. That's just crazy. And they use it in that one freaking movie, which is pretty cool and crazy at the same time. But at the end of the day, that's pretty much it for Superman honorable mentions. And let's get right down to my number one pick, which has to go down to Superman Doomsday. Superman Doomsday is, of course, the first ever DC anime movie post the Superman animated Superman and Batman animated series. And is, of course, the classic storyline, the death of Superman, which is heavily inspired from for the specific movie, which is, of course, Superman versus Doomsday, which is this all-out monster who basically makes havoc through Metropolis and is the only character within the DCU at that point in time that Superman could not beat, and they basically just end up killing each other. And you know, we just go through the entire, you know, later of the film, basically dealing with a world without Superman, and how people are affected, and how the city of Metropolis is affected, and how you know, Ma Kent is affected, and Lois Lane, and how they have to deal with the fact that Superman is officially gone. And then, of course, it has other various elements of like the reign of the Supermen, which, of course, where imposter Superman kind of came in. They didn't really took a lot of influence from, you know, those days. They just kind of just mashed them into like one specific character. But I would have preferred if they brought in other characters, which would have been awesome. But at the end of the day, of course, at the end, spoilers, there's, of course, a great battle between Superman versus Superman, which is really interesting. But nonetheless, Superman Doomsday is number one in my book. I think it's awesome storyline. Superman versus Doomsday has to be at least one of the biggest influences that have to inspire the official Man of Steel sequel, which I hope happens. But nonetheless, this has been my top 5 Superman anime movies. If there was a movie that was not on my list that I ranked number 1, please let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what you personally thought about my list. What do you think about all these specific movies? In ranking, of course, it's Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, AllStar Superman, Superman Unbound, and of course, Superman Doomsday. This has been my list of Superman anime movies. Of course, next time I'll give you some more Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice orientated top 5s, of course. And of course, if at the end of the day, if you've not seen my Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice teaser trailer review, but personally, please go to my channel, check it out. It's awesome. It's very long. If you can deal with my rants, then of course you're going to like it. But nonetheless, comment below. Let me know what you personally thought. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. And this has been John 12.